Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group, and today I want to talk about something that kind of harkens back to a conversation we discussed on Wisdom Wednesday, particularly pertaining to business and the life cycle of success, right? But something was brought to my attention uh, by watching, the news or whatever from the Wall Street Journal. They did a report on how one particular social media site has dramatically has the dramatic effects it has on teenage girls. There have been multiple studies about how social media interacts with the brain, how it leads to depression and things like that. But this particular story kind of puts some hard statistics to the actual concepts that social media can be a blessing, but it also can be a curse, right? So depending on which side of the aisle you on and whether you properly use social media, it could really harm uh, younger teen girls, specifically from this report. And I think it does the same thing to boys, although it's not necessarily captured in this report. But like we said before, the life cycle of success based on social media is not actually accurate to what we're seeing in industries across the board, right? You're not a millionaire by the time you're 24. Everybody's not super rich and super wealthy, right? All these things are shown to us, they're not necessarily true. But if that's the world you live in, if that's your worldview, if that's the only true worldview that you're exposed to, you're going to feel some type of way, right? You're going to feel like, hey, I'm not successful. Hey, particularly this report says 32% of teen girls said that when they felt bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse. It says we make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls, and this was in 2019. Teens also blame Instagram for increasing the rate of anxiety and depression. This is a reaction unprompted and consistent amongst all groups. It says among teens who reported having suicidal thoughts, 13% of British users and 6% of American users said that the desire to kill themselves came from Instagram. It that that's pretty damning, right? If there was another product or another service that we used that prompted 13% of girls to want to commit suicide, we would put some parameters around that thing. We would do some hard researching and some we would draw some lines in the sand because it's only going to get worse if you understand what I'm saying. It's almost like we used to laugh in the 90s, right? Now you see it, as clear as day in 2021 where, every time an artist said something extravagant, right? I'm talking about rap particularly. Every time a rapper said something extravagant, the next rapper, in order to maintain the same energy or achieve the same success, had to go just a little bit further. So if you had a Porsche, this guy had to have a Ferrari, right? Or if you had a 10 karat gold chain, his had to be 14. So in order for the next guy to be on top, his would have to be 18. And not picking on hip hop or anything like that, but you see the culture going that way, right? For every movie that was a horror movie in the 90s, in order for something to be scary now, you literally you I mean, it's so real, it's ridiculous, right? So we're constantly pushing the barriers of what is acceptable, and what we show children and what we call real life, right? And these boundaries are becoming so unrealistic that it's I believe that's one of the biggest things that's increasing rate of depression in younger teens, man. Like I talk to so many young guys that are in their 20s that feel like life is almost over, like they haven't made it yet, like they're not. And it's sad, man. I'm really taken aback by some of the conversations I have with people that are just starting out in their careers, expecting based on this new social media, everything's great, everything is in your face, right? Everybody's living this luxurious life, and yet you're really in your house, and you're making minimum wage and things like that, and you feel like you don't measure up. and you feel like you'll never measure up because, if this person did it by 24, why can't you, right? What's wrong with you type of deal. And I'm not a female, but I can imagine, looking at some of the doctor pictures, or some of the things that women wear, and all the fun that it looks like they're having, and all the the bottles they're popping, and all those types of things, man, that you could feel kind of less than, just to say the least, right? And so much of our culture is really, it's kind of let me show you how much fun I'm having that you're not having. It's kind of almost, let me show you how much better I am than you are. And it's like an ongoing thing, man. And the reality of it is, statistically, it's not true. Now, I could say that all day because, I look at the numbers. I follow the economy. I follow what we have to do as a nation to keep this nation afloat, coming out of the worst pandemic that we've seen in, 100 some odd years, right? And what it took for us to, pass out literally money in order to keep people, with food on the table. And you look at that, but the social media doesn't reflect that. So although we know the statistics, we know what people in this country really make, we know what the numbers look like, it's not reflective in there, there's no real climb, there's no real hierarchy when you talk about social media. It's really everybody has. And that's definitely not true. um the reality of the situation is, many people in this country are keeping their heads above water, um and being in a consumer driven society such as we are in America, because that's part of what makes us great, because anybody can sell their products here. Americans, we're consumers for the most part. We consume credit, we accumulate debt, we're fashion, we're cars, we're everything, right? And really, no, not many people have nest eggs, I should say. Not many people have a savings account. Not many people understand investing. Not many people, and this is not to knock anybody. Understand what I'm saying? I'm saying we are constantly being told the false narrative, and the reason that we're doing that, because the keep up game is lucrative, right? It's lucrative for us as people that are selling products, right? Not that I'm selling a product, but let's say I was a t-shirt designer. It's lucrative for me. You're feeling inadequate without my product makes me money. If you felt you didn't need my product, you could decide to buy. You definitely wouldn't go broke trying to get it, right? You would be more reserved, and maybe you might pick it up and maybe you won't, but you wouldn't feel inadequate without it. And I think that is, what most people feel if they don't have the same, the right name brand in the right season, or able to, do a yacht party, or drink whatever. It's constantly, we're constantly being marketed to, saying you need this in order to feel great, right? And it's a lie. You don't need that stuff, right? You don't need to have a snatch waist, quote unquote, in order to marry or find the right guy that God has for you. Um, you don't need to have $1 million in the bank in order to find the right woman that God has for you. Nor do you need that type of thing just to enjoy life. From somebody that has had the opportunity to do some awesome things and some ordinary things, I got to tell you, man, one of the best times in my married life was literally being locked in the house during the pandemic. We found so many ways, just like walking in the park, and we found so many trails, and we went on mountain hikes, and these things cost $0. And I got to be honest to you, man, it was some of the best times that we've ever spent together as a family. Now we've been, like I said, me and my wife have been out of the country. We've been on, we've been some nice places, right? But we have a great time talking about, just some of those walks that we took on trails, man. And I want to encourage you, man, to not try to spin your way into happiness, or don't. I'm not trying to be funny by saying this, but trust me, you know, there's a fitness kick going on, right? And I believe everybody should be healthy, and I believe everybody should be, doing their best to try to get to, whatever is a healthy goal for your body, right? Whatever you need to do to keep those numbers right, your cholesterol and whatever. I'm not a doctor, right? But don't become vain with the world. Don't allow them to start, if you don't have the I mean, there's so many operations that you don't even really know what people look like, man. I laugh and say, man, I'm not knocking anybody that's had anything that, that's had any work done. It's not that's not what I'm saying. Like, it's your money, it's your right. But to try to take something that was, not natural and compare it to what most natural females look like is a little unfair, you know. And for that to be your competition, it's not an accurate reflection of how most women, look. And if you feel like you have to compete with that in order to, that could cause you to feel bad about your body, as some of these statistics say. So I have a scripture here, man, and I'm just gonna leave you with this. It says, Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think on these things. I gotta tell you, man, uh, if you constantly stare at things that make you feel less than, I would pray about it. I would seek some counseling, possibly. For the simple fact that you're inviting negative feelings into your life, and I think that is a reflection of something deeper. Um, and I would suggest, man, like I said, first, go to God. If you're part of a good church, pray for some people, pray with some people, get some accountability partners around you, because it's only gonna get worse. And I think that, there's not necessarily any precedent on what we can, because freedom of speech really affects how we address social media organizations or tech organizations, and we're going through that now as a country. But I don't want to lose a generation of people because we don't understand how to legislate big tech. So what I'm saying to you is, from the bottom of my heart, turn it off. If it's hurting you, if it's making you feel less than, turn it off. Come back to reality. Come back to reality. Because I guarantee you, most of the things that you're seeing on those social media sites are not. I know this wasn't about business. I know this is not your typical Wisdom Wednesday. But, like I said before, when you love people and you see things that are hurting people, sometimes you have to address them. And I know I'm not typically a topic person or a trending person, but the reality is the reality, man. Turn it off, go to God, get some counseling, but don't let social media tell you what real life is about, because it's a curated life, and the life you live can't be curated. So once again, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Peace.